Okay, Joe, let us consider answering another problem. So this is the problem. Is there a significant difference between the mean score of the level of life satisfaction of the respondents when grouped according to their socioeconomic status? So the socioeconomic status that I use in my data is limited into 1, 2, and 3, where 1 is poor, 2 is average, and 3 is rich. For the null and alternative hypothesis, so it's also indicated here, there is no significant difference between the mean score of the level of satisfaction of the respondents when grouped according to their socioeconomic status. And alternative, there is a significant difference between the mean score of the level of satisfaction of the respondents when grouped according to their socioeconomic status. So that type of hypothesis is two-tailed. I set the level of significance initially into 0.05. So this is actually an application of one-way ANOVA, or if we did not meet again the conditions, because one-way ANOVA is a parametric test, then we're going to use its counterpart, which is the crystal Wallis. So here, this is the extension of t-test for independent samples. We also considered here in the independent group. Socioeconomic status is divided into 3 groups. That's why instead of using t-test for independent samples, average is independent from rich and independent from poor. Instead of using t-test for independent sample, you can use one-way ANOVA. So this is used for comparison for 3 or more independent groups. For the preliminary analysis, so we will consider the purpose. So the purpose of our test or our problem is to compare the mean, and the mean are grouped into 3 or more independent samples. So the very little, or just enough, or just as I have mentioned, it can be poor, average, and rich. So we also need to check for the central limit theorem. We also need to check if the data is normally distributed. So here, it is already stated that by central limit theorem, it is normally distributed. So to do that, you have, of course, to go back to your data. So I add another classification here, the socioeconomic status. So 1 corresponds to very little. So it's actually not poor. Very little. 2 is little, and 3 just enough. So let us count. So since it's 1, 2, and 3, let us count for the number of respondents. So we're going to use frequency. And let us locate histogram. Where is histogram? Here, this one. Click OK. And let's select our socioeconomic status data and the beam range. Let's go back. Okay, so this is the beam range, 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so the number of sample size, or rather the sample size for 1 is 33, 34, 33. So obviously, it is up. They are sufficiently large enough. They exceeded 30, and they are equivalent. So we can state that by central limit theorem, our data is normally distributed. So next, let's go back to our data. We are now ready to use the one-way ANOVA. Using the online calculator. So again, it's a quick statistics calculator. So this is the online one-way calculator. So all we need to do is simply to, first, we have to sort our data according to socioeconomic status. And then, let's copy the data for number 1, group 1, For treatment 1, let's copy the data for group 2. And copy the data for our group number 3. And then click calculate. So again, it will present you all the data, all the values that needs to be computed when you use the manual computation. So this is now the result. So F is 1.62676, but the p-value is 0.201882, which means that the result is not significant. So this means that there is no significant difference in the level of satisfaction regardless of the socioeconomic status of the respondent. So you can now place the result in our generate the result. You can actually place this result. So let us place the result generated using our calculator. Let us copy this and paste in our Microsoft Word. So what is the result? It means that we are accepting HO. There is no significant difference. And then you can arrange your table using this format. This is the sample format, but however, the result is not this value. So you have to edit this to place the correct values. And you will use the generated table in the calculator. So the value of the mean for group 1 is 17.18, group 2 is 20.47, group 3 is 18.55, and also the standard deviations are provided. So all you need to do is to copy the mean, the standard deviation, the value of F is also here. The value of F is 1.62676. The degree of freedom is also provided. It is 2. So you just need to place here and also for the P value. And then, so this is just the sample interpretation. So you can now compare the socioeconomic status, I rather the mean scores of the respondents based on the socioeconomic status. And also, of course, when you are going to state now the result, you will simply say that there is no significant difference between the level of satisfaction of the respondents regardless of their socioeconomic status.